I always like to say in interviews that I don't like do play testing the way that larger games do, because I don't really believe in that. Like I don't believe in the survey of like play testing to decide what should be in the game, or even to decide what things need the most work or something. I mean, sometimes, right? But for me, it's a more basic reality check. Like, are people confused in places I don't want them to be confused, right? Or are they finding red herrings, or like, do things even work, or do they crash if you, like sometimes, like even if you've got in-house testers, you guys are all running through the game the same way and somebody comes at it from a total different direction. And the thing that I find about player feedback is, so it's important to get some, I think, otherwise you're completely detached from reality and that's bad, right? It's important to look at what people say, but there's usually two parts to feedback. There's like, okay, there's positive and negative. Let's talk about negative because that's the ones that people usually react to. Positive is like, okay, cool, I wanted that to be good, it was good, whatever. Negative feedback is usually of the form, I didn't like this, or I didn't understand this, or this was hard because whatever, right? And the most useful part is the I didn't like this or this was hard, right? And maybe that's fine because again, I'm not trying to please everybody with 100% of the game.
I do very little user testing, in part because I consider what I'm doing to be art and not commercial products. But I think even for commercial products that are not trying to be art or serious work, as I said at the beginning, I think user testing is often a mistake. I think it makes games boring a lot of the time because there's this tendency, anytime you get feedback, to take it too seriously, right? So anytime somebody mentions a problem, there's two problems. So one is anytime somebody mentions a problem, the obvious reaction is to fix that problem. Anything that anybody mentions wrong, right? But if you subtract everything that anybody doesn't like, you're left with kind of nothing eventually, right? Now the second problem is that if players are unhappy with your game, they know that they're unhappy, but they don't actually know why exactly. And the real reason why they're unhappy with it can be much subtler than you think, and it could be fixed by really small things. So, game designs that seem not to work and that people seem to be having a bad time with, if you change the color of the character and don't change the mechanics at all, that changes something about how people perceive it, about how much work their brain does when playing the game and so forth. And it changes the gameplay to change visuals, right? So a funny example, I'm friends with Edmund McMillan, who made Super Meat Boy, or one of the people who made Super Meat Boy. And when you win Super Meat Boy, you get to play as Bandage Girl, who you rescued at the end of Super Meat Boy. And people play as Bandage Girl, and they're like, oh, I really like her. Like, her movement is like really just a lot better. It's like stickier and stuff. And he says it's actually exactly the same as Meat Boy's. It's just got different sound effects and slightly different graphics. It feels different to play. And even people who have played the game for dozens of hours think that. So I don't trust user testing. I use it to know at a very base level as a reality check. Is the game working or not? But then if it's not working, I have to figure out why. I don't have people, I mean, they may tell me, but I don't listen to that as instructions.